A simple machine is a mechanical device that changes the direction or the magnitude of a force. In general, they can be defined as the simplest mechanisms that use mechanical advantage to multiply force. They increase output force relative to the amount of input force.
A pulley changes the direction of a force, which can make it much easier for us to move things.
Okay, this is how you use a pulley.
Really good, really good.
A worker uses a pulley to lift heavy materials. A sailor uses a pulley to adjust their sails. One example is a pulley on a flagpole because it allows you to lift the flag to the top. Another example is a crane that allows you to lift heavy objects.
This is a wedge. A wedge is used to cut, separate, or split objects or fit the objects into the wedge. Put it between the door and the floor. One profession that uses a wedge is a mechanic. They use the wedge to hold the tire in place when fixing a car. Another example is a surgeon who uses a wedge-shaped tool to help make precise cuts during a surgery. Two examples of a wedge would be a knife to help cut food and an axe to help cut wood.
A wheel and axle lifts and moves objects and requires less energy input. A wheel and axle helps provide energy input and helps move objects easier. Transportation workers use wheel and axles every day in their vehicles, on their wheels, or even on steering wheels to help steer. Bakers also use a wheel and axle on their rolling pins to help move the dough. This is a pizza cutter, and it has a wheel and axle to help provide the thing to move. Another larger example of a wheel and axle is a wheel. It provides easy movement for a car.
A lever amplifies an input force to provide greater output force, which provides leverage.
One example of a profession is construction workers when they use wheelbarrows when they're hauling materials. And then another example of a profession is mechanics when they use car jacks to lift a car up.
Two examples of a lever would be a seesaw, which helps create movement when children are playing on it, and a bottle opener, which uses a lever to help open caps off bottles.
The first simple machine that I'm doing is a screw. A screw is a simple machine that turns rotational motion into linear motion, and it turns torque into linear force. The screw is a simple machine, not just a little screw with a screwdriver, but there's many different ways. Some are used to hold things together, some are used to lift objects, some can be used as pumps, and some can be used as cutting holes. So it's not just the average little screw, but there's many different types. The first example that I have of a screw is a bottle cap. So you can see that it's rotational motion into linear motion. It's going up and down instead of just keep going like that. It's going up and down. It's holding things together. It's holding this plastic to the bottle tightly, and then the torque into linear force. The force holding it together. The second example of a screw is this for putting gas in. So both of these examples have threaded things like that, which all screws do, but these both are used to hold things together. So the rotational motion is turning into linear motion of this going into there, and it's holding it together, which is one of the main uses for screws. One profession that uses screws often is a mechanic, because a car jack that they use to lift the car up, which is where you would put in a bar and you turn it, that would in turn use a different simple machine, as like a scissoring thing, but still it's using the screw to make the force, and that's what lifts the cars up so that they can work on it. Another profession that would use a screw is any profession that uses a vice grip, or like a vice where you would thread it and it would pull the two pieces of metal together to hold things tight. So something like that might be carpentry or any type of construction job. The second simple machine that I'm doing is an inclined plane. An inclined plane is a flat supporting surface tilted at an angle from the vertical direction. That aids in lifting heavy loads that need to go up and down. But when you use the inclined plane, less force is required to push it up than lifting the load on its own. The more steep you get on your inclined plane, the more close the amount of force is to the actual weight of the object. One example of an inclined plane is stairs. So stairs, it is sloped. So instead of just being straight vertical, like let's say a ladder, if you had to climb up a ladder every time you wanted to go up somewhere, like at a mall or something, instead of going upstairs, you'd have to climb up the ladder. That's a lot harder because you have 100% of your weight. When you're going up this, it doesn't require as much force because you're not pulling all the weight all the time. The second example I have of an inclined plane is a roof of a house. So a roof of a house is an inclined plane. Well, one, obviously because it's slanted, but the use of it is if it was flat and let's say snow or anything would build up and that'd get really heavy, you would have to go up and push that off, and using all of its weight is what you're pushing. But when it's slanted, if it's slanted enough like a good roof is, the force of gravity is enough to pull that off. So it doesn't require as much force to pull the snow off or whatever, and it's actually slanted enough so that gravity itself can pull it off. And that's why snow slides off of the house. One example of a profession that uses inclined plane, the simple machine, is someone that drives a tow truck or any truck that has to pick up cars. So you don't see a tow truck pulling up and then hooking onto the car and then lifting it up and then putting it on the truck. They have to put down their ramp and then they can pull it on, because they would not be able to generate enough force to pick the car up. So by pulling it, they don't have to use the entire weight of the car, but it lessens because they have that slant and they can pull the car up easily. The second profession that I have that uses simple machine inclined plane would be anyone doing construction. So a lot of times when you're doing construction, unless it's a small job, if it's concrete, anything like that, you have to haul it up ways that you're not able to just lift. So for example, when they build the pyramids like the ancient Egyptians, they had them big rocks and they weren't carrying them up and setting them down. They had slants that they could push them up and pull up with ropes and everything. So instead of just lifting it up using 100% of the weight of that rock, they would pull it up and use different ways to slide it up instead of lifting, which made it a lot easier and made it possible to do things like that back then when there was no machinery. So to see the actual visual of a stairs, here's some stairs that, oh wow, this is really nice and easy. I can just walk right up it. Or I could jump up, but I'm not going to do that because I can just walk up these stairs. Nice inclined plane, use of a simple machine. The second one is an inclined plane there on the roof. If I could show you the top of the roof, there's no snow on there or water or anything because it slides right off. Gravity is enough to pull it off. If that was sitting flat, the roof probably wouldn't be there anymore. There'd be so much snow, it'd be broken straight through and the force would break it. So since it's slanted, it can slide right off. Gravity pulls it off.
Reading our video on these 6 simple machines.
Please like and subscribe.
And enjoy.
See you next time.
And enjoy. No, you will not. You will not be here next time. And enjoy the bloopers they're gonna play.
Right after this.
Right after this.
1.
Peace out.